From the Pacific Northwest to around the world, you are about to powerfully connect with Angela Rae.
Hey, greetings and salutations. Angela Rae here with the power to connect. I am so excited. This is my first season, my first episode. And I sat around and I thought, who do I want to talk to on this seminal episode? And when it came right down to it, I said, I want to talk to somebody who made a powerful connection with me. This is someone who's been not just a friend, but also a mentor. And mentors come in different sizes, different ages. It doesn't matter. She has just been someone who has really made a huge difference in my life. And she is one of the kindest people I've ever met, one of the funniest people I've ever met, one of the smartest people I've ever met. And I wanted you to have exposure to my girlfriend, Kristian, who usually would be here in the United States, and we maybe would have chit-chatted in person, but for some strange reason, she's in India now. Kristian, hello. How are you?
Hello, Miss Angela. I'm doing good. Trying to stay up. I just got off of a flight 2 hours ago. So I put myself together as fast as I could. So here I am for my queen.
You look fabulous, my queen. And let me just say, my girl got engaged at the end of 2021. Was it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
She already had a wedding where she lives. And her husband is from India. So I'm sorry, but we have to have more weddings. That's the way this works. So she just had another wedding and she sent me a text and said, it was like 3 or 4 days later. She said, we're just finishing with the wedding. So how many weddings? I'm all over the place because she and I were supposed to talk last week, but something happened. She moved from Mumbai to where she was going to get married. And what happened?
Oh my God. So we flew into Kerala State and we were not expecting, apparently we got hit by the formation of a cyclone or something like that. I don't know the details. So I'm like, okay, so our wedding, basically, we're going to probably have indoors with probably no lights because the power is going off and on. And I messaged you, Angela, and I was like, you know what? We could do this interview, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay online the whole time. So, thank goodness, literally 4 hours before our wedding, the sun came out. It was gorgeous. We were able to quickly do some photos before the actual wedding. And I don't know, maybe God listened to our prayers. I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden just everything fell into place. And I was in the mindset of like, you know what, let it be, God. If this is what you want, I'll just go with the flow. So it was perfect. And after that, it's just been beautiful. With the clouds were gone, we were able to enjoy our outdoor wedding eventually. I mean, we had it like indoor/outdoor. It was supposed to be the whole time outdoor, but we were just playing by ear. But yeah, it was good. Thank goodness.
Oh my God. I mean, you sent me video of the cyclone and, as a news anchor, I've covered a lot of hurricanes, never out in the mess. I was always on the anchor desk, but when I saw that water, that felt a little different from the hurricane. And I've been in hurricanes. I've had to cover some hurricanes. That was some scary. Have you ever seen anything like that?
I haven't. The raindrops were so huge. I've never seen raindrops like that. The wind was like howling. We got thunder. It was crazy. And we were just kind of going with like the flow. But then we would be like, let's not take the elevator. Let's probably stay put in the room. Or if we're hungry, let's all stay together.
Yeah. So, just in case.
Right. But yeah, it was something I've never experienced. When you told me you had covered those, and I was like, I would have just like lost it if I didn't have my family with me. But yeah. So, and Vinayak was like, oh, I'm used to this. It's fine. It's Kerala weather. It's,
Don't worry.
Rains so hard. Can rain so hard that the water will go on like all the way up to your knees in some cases. So that was one thing that I was worried about. But that didn't happen. Thank goodness. So.
Oh my God. Whoa. Well, that was a really interesting way to start your wedding festivities in India. So explain to me, through Indian tradition, how does it work once, a couple is engaged? Explain it to me, because I saw how beautiful you looked. I saw your henna.
Thank you. So there's a lot of preparation that happens, and it's done also with celebration. So hopefully I'll get some of that video content and pictures. But there's a lot of celebration before the wedding. So there's singing, there's dancing, there's food. And, you're basically 2 days of just like celebrating before the actual wedding. And usually they just call it like mini, like receptions. And then when the wedding actually happens, that's also a whole day thing. And it's so beautiful because it's basically the whole ritual is a blessing. So it's just giving the couple blessing, not just from like whoever conducts the ceremony, which is usually somebody, that has, he goes to school basically to marry a couple and like really works off of like whatever the state, ritual is. And in our case, it was, it's a very green area. And so vegetation is a big deal. So we were blessed amongst like wheat and fruits and, flowers and our friends and family too. They were around us. And it was just beautiful. And then after the wedding, it's just, again, singing, dancing. We took tons of photos. I got to meet a lot of Vino's family that I've heard in like just, through conversation, or I've seen like pictures, and oh my God, their family is huge. So that's why we also did multiple receptions, because they couldn't come to the actual wedding for two reasons. One, given that we wanted to keep it very COVID safe. Usually weddings can have up to 500 guests. But we broke it down to 40 for the wedding. And then there were multiple receptions. And so we would invite, additional 40 folks in those receptions. Because we had elderly folks there and we just wanted to be safe. Mm-hmm. And then two, we also wanted to make sure we were there with our elderly family members. So we would make trips to these different, I guess you could call them towns, and continue the celebration. So it was beautiful. I'm so glad that I was able to experience it. I never seen such joy in people's faces, and colors. Oh my God, Angela, I've never seen so many beautiful saris. The colors these women wore and the jewelry. I'm like, some of these could be like the house, like putting a deposit on the house, right? Like I'm not lying. And it's just glamorous. I felt like I was in a Bollywood movie. It was beautiful. So
that's so amazing. I am so sorry I was not there. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime thing. And because your culture, you are from Mexico. And
correct,
your husband is from India. When I first met the two of y'all, I'm like, their cultures are really similar. There's some similarities here. And, it's intergenerational living. There's just a lot of things, that are just very common within the culture. And I know you got married in the United States prior to going to India. But what I need folks to understand is it ain't over yet, because you only get married once when it's the right time. Angela.
Right.
Etsy.com. I'm sorry, I messed up. So at the end of the year, you'll be having another celebration. If Mexico City.
It's going to be in Tulum, Mexico, which is on the Caribbean side. And honestly, girl, like so it was a lot of celebration the last 4 days. And I was like telling Vino, like, we could put a pause on the December wedding until sometime next year. He's like, no, we're keeping it because I want to get to meet your family. And we have been talking about it. We're not going to extend it. We're going to keep on going. I know that we're tired, but we have some months to recover. So it's going to be in Tulum. Yeah, he is great. He keeps me sane and just like calm. So
I love him.
He's amazing, amazing partner. But yeah, it's going to be in Tulum, and we're going to have more of my side of the family that couldn't make it to the Indian wedding and also the Seattle wedding. So yeah, I'm really excited.
This is awesome. I'm a big fan of love. And your love story is just really precious. And to see things materialize the way they have is really awesome. I have to say, when I thought about you and your wedding in India, I'm just going to have to be honest. I thought about Jenny and Sumit from 90 Day Fiancé, and I was so wondering if you guys were going to bump into them and like maybe y'all were going to have dinner or whatever.
I love those two. They're a little wild for me. It's a little crazy, but
you know what?
It makes good TV.
Yeah. And you know what? I liked Jenny because she legitimately wanted to be a part of the Indian culture as opposed to some of these folks. I'm sorry, guys. One of the ways Kristian and I bonded was I went over to her desk one day because we used to work together, and I said, do you watch this show called 90 Day Fiancé? And her eyes lit up and we were off and running. So, and they have so many iterations of it now. And I get my man to watch it too. It's hilarious. But I swear I thought about Jenny and Sumit. I'm like, I hope the two of you guys go and meet them and have dinner.
Oh my God. I'm when they aired, I was like, it got me even more hooked because I'm like, they're crazy. And I love me some crazy sometimes. Exactly. Especially after a long day of work.
A long day at work. Oh.
Right.
Have you gotten in, maybe you've been gone, this new show, it's on Netflix. It's about an ultimatum. Either you're gonna marry me or it's all the rage. And it came out of the show Love is Blind, which I'm trying to catch up on that. Oh my gosh. I just love love. So, I watch these kinds of shows and I'm like cheering people on or telling them, don't do it. I've been there, wrong one. And poor Peter has to sit there and listen to it.
Oh my God. I haven't gone into that one, but I did start watching Love is Blind before we came to India. And I was like, I'm getting hooked. We're on
some
of the
2.
stuff with some folks. Oh,
we're on season 2. That's sad.
I gotta catch up.
You gotta catch up, girl. But the weddings, it's just been like this. I'm back. I'm on a different subject.
Oh,
now.
No, you're.
Was it like 4 days of celebration?
4 days of celebration.
How do you look that good? I'm serious. How do you not look exhausted?
I took a lot of naps. I took so many naps, like wherever I could, even in the makeup chair. I'm like, and then when they were doing my hair, I'm like, give it a little massage because it's feeling a little like I've been yanked everywhere.
Your hair got so long. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wouldn't. With the wedding coming up, all 3. I can't keep track of them. But I was like, let me let the hair grow.
Yep.
Because I don't want to, have short hair when I get married. Nothing against it, but there's more you can do with.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
But I know that by next year, I do want to cut it back to what it was because it is a lot of maintenance. I'm like, yeah,
it is. I can't. Yeah, and because you have such a pretty face, you look really good with short hair, so we can see that face. And speaking of hair, I have been diagnosed along with Jada Pinkett Smith with alopecia. So, so it impacts the hair.
How's that going?
Well, one of the things that I've really been cottoning to is hair remedies from India. And it goes like this. It's cloves. So I'm like, talk to Kristian about checking with somebody to make sure the clove water is good. Yeah. So it's this clove water thing, and Indian women, and then I get it from African women as well. And so I do my clove stuff. I boil it, I let it sit, and I put it on the scalp and the hair. I think it's also supposed to help with graying, which I've been doing since I was in my 30s, which was just the other day. Anyway.
So one thing they told me, because they said I have really thin hair, was to put coconut oil.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And just like let it sit for a couple hours, and then, basically rinse it off with some shampoo.
Okay. Because I used to use coconut oil a lot on my hair when I was in DC. And then I just came in here, I quit using it. But that's okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And they have, oh my God, Indian women and men have like amazing thick hair. So I'm like, I hope our kids have thick hair, because my hair is just too thin.
You have fine hair. So do I. You know what else I think that women in the culture use is they also do a rice water rinse. Like I've just been on YouTube.
I heard that.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing that will help, make the hair thicker and grow. But the clove water as well. And it's really easy to do. They have oils too. They use a lot of oils. Yeah. I'm a big oil user too. And I'm going to make some clove oil. As a matter of fact, I just found a YouTube video where somebody was making clove oil. So I'm going to do that because, my type of hair is very different from yours. It's curly. It's probably the texture is 4A. And so, also it soaks up a lot of water. So I have to, continue to water it, whatever. But it's a really weird. My curl pattern is just, I've got probably 4 or 5 different curl patterns, but my hair is all
Your hair's so gorgeous.
Oh,
your hair is so gorgeous.
Oh,
like, honestly, when I remember meeting you, when we had I think we were, the first day that I met you was an interview, right? I was part of the interview for Angela's role when we were at the same department. And I'm like, she's got amazing skin and amazing hair. I was just like,
God love
and then when I learned how old you were, I was like, can you give me the recipe?
You mean the 35 years old that I am?
Yes. I'm like, I need to catch up with whatever Miss Angela's wearing and putting on her. So but I've always wanted curly hair too. So I was really like, I love your hair, and I still do. So
that's hilarious. Beautiful. We're never satisfied with what we have. I just told Peter the other day, I'm ready to straighten my hair again. And, when your hair is damaged, the last thing you need is heat, which I haven't put heat on my hair in, 5, 6, 7 years. And during the pandemic, I cut it myself. I probably cut 6 to 7 inches. And what you don't know is my hair it shrinks 85%. So I just pulled it out to Peter the other day, and it's like way down here.
Wow.
But I got my hair colored after 15 months, COVID. I went last year, and I'm not lying to you, Kristian. I think I lost half of my hair. And
really?
I called her. I was like, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, I'm like, click. No more. I'm not talking to you anymore. So hopefully with my Indian and African ladies helping me and spurring me on, I'm hoping that, that'll work out, or, whatever will be.
I'll ask my mother-in-law for some tips and tricks, and I'll let you know.
Oh, thank you.
What she tells me.
Thank you so much. And we will be happy to share with you. This is all what the Power to Connect is all about. It's just, it's
absolutely
something as big as helping to find a job, and something as small maybe as, is my clove water going to help my hair grow? Girl, this is crazy. You are so, I clean my makeup brushes. And whenever I do, the hair always comes off. So I have I use the lip.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm like, literally when I was coming on, I was like, something's feeling funky in here. And then I was like, oh, it's my makeup brush. Okay. Yeah. I feel you.
I want people to know that one of the reasons I think we really gelled as friends is because we were working in a government setting, but Kristian and I both come from the private sector. But more importantly, while I might have tried to start businesses, she actually did start a business. So can you tell us what it's like to start your own business and to just have all of the pressure on you to, make this work, to find clients, to do what you did to have a successful business?
Oh, thanks, Miss Angela. So, I think it was hard, honestly, harder being a woman and a woman of color. I remember when we were trying to raise VC money, we didn't look the part. We weren't, an old white male with connections. And basically there were a lot of doors being slammed. And it was the Port of Rotterdam that actually opened the door for us, for me and my co-founders and our entire team.
So Europe answered the call.
We went to, exactly. Wow. We were there for about 4.5 years operating and still going. But the reason why they believed in us was because they had one of the VCs she was a female. So she was amongst the men. And she advocated for us and she said, I really believe in what they're doing. And that's why I love being surrounded by other women, that empower other women. And that's what attracted me to you, Miss Angela. Like, honestly, too. Was, we just had each other's back, and it's hard to find women that actually do that and it's authentic, and that's what made the journey with this business feel like, I could not give up when I found someone that believed in product, in myself, in the team. And, basically I had an advocate, and that's what I've always found in spaces where I am able to excel is when there's someone there that is, rooting for me. And it's amazing to find another woman colleague to do that because they understand the struggle. So yeah, I think after that relationship was built with this VC founder, things felt a lot more like at ease. Mm-hmm. It was hard. There were days that were hard, but I could always call her and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. What do you recommend? What do you suggest? And, she had folks that she could call and just like help us keep going, and, that's why I really appreciate when I, again, meet other women, especially women of color, because there's very few of us that, can, be that ally that we need. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
What is the business actually?
So the business is, it's in the maritime industry. So
wow.
Yeah, I know. And it's maritime.
Wow, this is like shipping, maritime shipping.
Shipping.
Oh my gosh, Kristian.
Yeah. I know, right?
What talent.
So it's basically you upload, so mariners have these credentials that were, basically they had a notebook of where they carried all their licenses and certificates proving that they can operate a vessel. And we just basically said, why are we doing this with paper? Like, let's try to make an app or a platform where people can just upload their credential and then they can send it to, HR to be like, hey, I'm ready for work. Here's my credentials showing that I can, move this boat to point A to point B, and then we slowly started working with schools to get them to issue the credential electronically. And also another thing about it was like, getting the schools on board, because that was kind of interesting because they were like, oh, our sailors are very old school. They don't embrace technology. So it was really interesting to get them on board. But my co-founder, she had connections with maritime. And again, she found women colleagues in these schools to be like, advocating for us. So again, it's like that other woman ally to like basically helped us through this process.
Ask you something.
Yeah.
Why was this the product that you glommed onto? How did you even know about this?
So I used to work at Vulcan, and they had vessels, and I worked in the compliance department. And I was like, this is crazy. They're sending me a credential that I have no idea if it's valid. They could be making this up, right? And then I met my co-founder through friends, mutual friends, and she was in the maritime industry, and she showed me her notebook, and she's like, yeah, this is a problem, and so we became partners in the business, and really she knew what this pain point was because she experienced it. And also, her husband, who also works in maritime. And so that's where kind of it all happened. And it was honestly something very simple. And that's what I love about like tech startups. It's like the simplest thing, but the hardest part is convincing it, like the old school folks to be like, let's, digitize or, make this more modern. But it was really like, again, the Port of Rotterdam who was embracing, going from paper to digital, and again, finding that woman VC, member to just be like, we need this. And I think these women have something and there's potential there, and let's invest in them and bring their team over. So, yeah.
And let me just say this is who you are. I mean, I've worked with her in situations where she was spinning out of control in her head because something that we were given to do, she's like, this doesn't work. This isn't working. And as someone who understood technology, whereas I don't, she stayed up all night and came up with the process to work better. And the process was to help people during COVID who needed money. And the city had the opportunity to give money to small businesses to help them stay afloat. And she came up with a process that really did cull everything down, which means we were able to get money to folks quicker. She streamlined the process. This is just who you are. You are just straight up an entrepreneur. And irrespective of whether you're in the private sector or the public sector, you do the same thing I do. I take my private sector knowledge and I lay it on top of this public sector stuff, because sometimes this public sector stuff I'm like, what are we doing here? We didn't do that do that on your private time. We got work to do here. So that's
what I like about you, Angela, is I think that was another reason why we connected, because, you understand, like, okay, public sector, I get it, that this is how you like to do business, but let me talk to you about what I've experienced in the private sector, right? And I love that you're very lean and you're very like problem solver. You don't want to go with the status quo, and that was awesome to hear, because coming from the public sector, Angela, there would be like, well, that's how we do it.
Right.
That's how it's always been done. And we're like, no, that's not how it's going to be done.
That's right. And you bring up the other issue that is very critical, and it's going to be really crucial on this podcast, and that is our focus on women. If we cannot support each other genuinely and authentically, as you said, cheer each other on, help each other out with the understanding that this is for you. And I want to help you be successful, because when it's time for it to be for me, you're going to be there for me. So I think there needs to be more of that, more of women seeking each other out, like you're saying, because the support and, quite frankly, just not dealing with what I had a political show in DC and talked to minority business owners, a lot of Black and Hispanic business owners. And I remember specifically, I did a segment on VC, venture capital, and how very difficult it is for people of color and women to legitimately get the attention of what is an industry that is overrun by white males, basically. Mm-hmm. So, that is a true impediment. And I love that the way you guys found a way around it, which is to, let's look and see if we can find a woman who will have that sensibility and understand, that we are amazing people. We are business people. We know what we're doing. And, you just touch on a lot of things that are important to me. And that's why we are the friends that we are. What I want people to understand is, in order for you to have the business that you have and to do what you do, you had to do everything. You had to market. You had to do the financing. You had to do all the paperwork for the, corporation. You had to, work on the app. I mean, there's no one to help you out. It's you, and one more time, you. And if you have a partner, exactly. It's y'all, and then y'all.
Right. I mean, the fancy titles make it sound like, you got a big company, but it's like, no, that title doesn't mean anything, because you could be even cleaning the office to like
exactly
getting in front of like a big investor. Like it's a, and then you see like a co-founder being like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. So you're also like, a mentor and like a counselor, because you're like, okay, you can't give up. Right. So there's a lot of things you have to like, hats, I guess you can call it. A lot of hats you're wearing. And
I like what you said about not giving up.
Yes. That's how it works. Right. Yeah.
And
that's how it works.
It's funny. I met a woman on the plane once. We were coming back from Texas and going to DC, and we got to chatting, and she worked at the State Department at the time. And so we were getting ready to leave. She goes, I need to tell you, I call myself a recovering entrepreneur. I fell out laughing. She's like, I finally said, stop starting businesses. She realized that, she was good at it, but it's a lot. So she took her expertise to the federal level. I didn't keep in touch with her, but I did find that very interesting. One of the things that I know my guy and I talk about all the time is making good choices. And, it's so easy to go down the wrong road and to not be able to turn around as quickly as you need to. We all have made mistakes, and, we have had to live with the outcome or whatever, but it is important to attempt to make as many good choices as you can, because life is short and you don't want to hem yourself up, Right. So whether it's you want to get married or you want a certain career or whatever, you want to be a parent, whatever it is, go make it happen. And and like you said, don't give up, because that's not an option. Giving up is not an option. Then you weren't into that from the get-go. If you want to just give up, then no, we're not doing that. Something that is really important to Kristian and myself, and it's one of the big things that we have in common, because this is very important to me, how you treat others. And, we worked in an environment where we were helping to make sure that a local government is doing right by community, in particular, Black, Indigenous, people of color, immigrants, refugees, and other underserved people. And that it's hard work. It's hard work. It's a lot of times called community engagement and outreach. I have a focus, as you will learn, on customer service, and seeing customer service in so many different industries, seeing customer service as a major component of policing, seeing customer service in so many different ways and formats. And we can call this Kristian outreach and engagement, but what it's all about is serving the customer. The customer of a local government is the citizenry, its residents. So, Kristian, worked with a really powerful department that really needed some help in learning how to talk to people, how to engage community. And it was a major, major lift. And because of the work that she did, the work that I'm currently doing now is, I'm not going to say it's easier, but when I start complaining or noticing things, I'm told that's exactly what Kristian went through. You're doing the right thing. Keep pushing through. Keep pushing through. And, I don't know where you got this incredible sense of community engagement. I don't know where, but it is amazing. And because you speak Spanish, it is extremely important.
Thank you, Angela. Well, honestly, I think I got it from my parents, to be honest with you, the fighter in me. My parents came because they knew my brother and I needed a better life. So we couldn't be like a family together because, of basically, I was getting sick in Mexico City. And so was my brother, because the pollution was really, really bad back then. People were just basically, careless in how Mexico City was being run. And then my parents were like, okay, well, let's send you over to be raised by your grandparents. And they're like, this is a bad idea. When I go see my daughter and son, they don't even think I'm their parent. They call me aunt and uncle. It was crazy. Apparently, when I came to the US, in the plane, I was crying and saying that my mother was not my mother, that my mother was in Mexico and her name, calling out her name. And so even immigration pulled us aside because they were like thinking it was a kidnapping, right?
Wow.
And so my grandma got on the phone. She's like, no, that is your mother. You need to chill. I am just your grandmother, and, you got to trust, like, I'm not lying to you.
How old were you?
I was about 6.5 years old. So
how long did you live with your grandmother for you to feel like
I lived with her since I was 1 year old. So until I was like 6.5, whenever we moved. So like, I really saw her as a mother. And even like to this day, when I talk about my grandma, I call her Mama Nachita. To me, she'll always be a mom. And I'm blessed to have basically three moms, because one of my aunts also raised me. So, but yeah, it's that, I guess, I just realized the sacrifice that they made, right? They left their profession. They were professors in Mexico. My mom, here's a funny story. She hadn't cooked until she came to the US, because she always had people working for her, right? Like she had folks that would clean the house, folks that would take care of, the cooking and the cleaning. And it was a wake up call for her. She's like, now I have to do this my own, right? Because, I want my family together. So it was interesting because I did kind of, even though I didn't really spend a lot of time with them in Mexico, I do remember some holidays where it was like, I felt like the lifestyle from Mexico to the US was completely different, right? I noticed by the way that my mom, the way she would handle a lot of the house stuff. And even, we didn't live in a house. We lived in an apartment in the US. So that was like new to me because I never grew up in an apartment. And, so it's interesting, like all these changes that happen. And as I grew older, I realized, wow, they made all these sacrifices so we could be a unit, and
I want to point out something. Look at all of the powerful women who impacted you. Grandmother, abuelita, your tia,
exactly,
mama.
Yes.
And this is why you are this amazing.
Aww.
Yeah, I had an amazing mother like that. No, seriously, you know what I mean? And that's what it takes to raise women like us, we're doers.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I didn't know this about you.
Yeah. And my mom would multitask, right? So I feel like that's another thing that women we're good at is multitasking. Like we're dealing with the kids and we're dealing with the house and we're dealing with, some of us going to work at the same time, and then sometimes the husband needs attention too, right? So it's like
Absolutely.
a lot of like, I've told my mom this, like, you are the CEO of the house, really. Like you were the reason why we had stability, and so I'm forever grateful for my mama.
Let me ask you this. So you were like 6.5 on the plane, giving them the blues, singing "It's Not My Mom." When did you sort of change and coalesce? This is mom. This is dad.
Yeah. So it took me a year, to be honest. It took me a whole year. And the reason being was because I was in denial for the longest time. And I kept wanting to go back to Mexico. And I think, I don't know where I flipped the switch, but I know it must have happened in a year, because all of a sudden I was like, okay with giving hugs. Because, it just felt like I always saw her as an aunt when I was young. So when I realized, okay, well, I kind of look like her, and little things that would be like, oh, I guess I have that similar, taste, and like we both like this, or, so yeah, it was really interesting. My brother, he actually did not struggle as much as I did. I think it was because he spent more time with my mom and dad in Mexico City.
He's older than you? He's older?
He's younger than me.
Okay.
So we're just a year apart. But he always had the stronger immune system. And so, he was able to spend more time with them. But yeah, I think it was interesting to see that, that just like how he quickly adapted versus myself. And I probably, just the way I saw the relationship with my parents and my brother, also like made me realize, okay, there's something there that, they're not like, they didn't kidnap me. Right.
Right.
So yeah.
You know what we're talking about here? We're talking about the power to connect.
Exactly.
That's what this podcast is all about.
I love that. I love that.
This child was struggling to connect with the woman who birthed her, but through the power of the Almighty, and the power of love, and the power of the connection between a mother and a daughter, it wasn't going to last. Y'all were going to be together. And I love that
Yes.
someone told me they laugh the same. I'm like, then I'm in love with mom, because you're laughing. We laugh.
Yeah, that's true. They've said that we laugh very similar. So yeah. And it's so funny because here in India, sometimes I would be in one room, my mom would be in another room, and they're like, hey, you were looking for so-and-so. And I was like, oh, my mom's in the other room. You probably,
right.
thought it was her. So yeah, we've gotten that before.
That's great. That's great. Well, I there's so many connecting points of view with your way of powerfully connecting. But this is a story that I had never heard before. And, my heart is just going out to everyone involved, the children, your parents. I cannot imagine as a parent, you have to make the best decision for your children. And if that means, I've got to send you here, the fact that your parents were willing to do that, I can't wait to meet them. I mean, they are just the loveliest people. And, it's being an immigrant. It's, I have the honor of having an immigrant as a father-in-law, and, just what your parents went through, the decisions they made for their children, for their children's well-being, for the extension of their family, it paid off in droves. And I admire and respect immigrants so much, and I learn so much from them, because there are certain aspects of the way I was raised. And it just, I've learned so much from my guy, because he had an immigrant parent. And, whether it's how you handle money, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's things to learn from folks. And I always tell Americans, you want to know, you don't have to leave your country because it's so messed up, even though right now, oh my goodness, code critical. Exactly. But imagine having to leave everything imagine these people in Ukraine right now. This is absolutely maddening. It's maddening.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And it's heartbreaking to know I can't stay in my country because I can't eat, because none of us can eat. And I remember when I was in Mexico, I visited, my best friend is from college, is from Mexico. And I remember we were walking around Mexico City and just the children there. I mean, whatever I had, I gave them. And he's like, yeah, even that's not enough. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, we have some.
We have it good here in the US.
Yes.
We have it really good.
Yes. And I'm sick of us not knowing that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting because like, so as you know, I'm here in India, and a lot of the Indian family members have said, well, what do you think of India? You know, do you want to run back to the US? I'm like, you know what? No, because this is, you know, what you guys have is, you know, the power of love. Like, I'm just like, you guys value family, you know? And I have that same experience when I'm in Mexico. Yeah, it's different, right? Like, you know, our culture is very similar and yet different. But what I love about both of our cultures is like, we appreciate the little things. We appreciate family time. We believe in getting together. You know, like when I'm back in the US, I don't see that as often, you know, and we're always complaining about the next thing. Like we want the next thing. We want the next new iPhone. We want the next, you know, brand new, like laptop or whatever it is. Right. And it's like, you're never content really. And you're trying to keep up with everybody else.
That's right.
And it's like, you guys here, like, you want to share everything, you know, you don't know me, but you're trying to share everything. Right. And I'm just like, are
you going to come back?
I'm like, I know. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to come back.
I know.
But I'm like,
let me ask you something. Like, have you felt any pinch because, supposedly India has not really come out and said anything about what is happening in Russia. I don't know if politically, if you were hearing anything like that. While you talk, I have something on my lip.
Oh, okay. Get it?
I don't know where it is now.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people that I've interacted with, they're like, I wish Modi would say, this is messed up. You know, we don't believe in this. You know, we don't believe that we're just standing here and not doing anything or speaking up, that we are, you know, wanting to support Ukraine and we can send some sort of aid, you know? So that's the kind of conversations that I've been having with other family members here in India. It's like, you know, and I understand, like they've told me, you know, there's a good relationship between India and Russia. They actually are really good, you know, allies, because Russia's had India's back, especially when Britain tried to screw them a couple times. But I think, you know, Indian people that I've been able to talk to, they're like, we know what's right, you know, and we know what's wrong, and what's happening to Ukraine is definitely wrong. And it's you know, we need to stand up for other human beings. Right. And yeah, Russia's been a good ally to us in the past, but, you know, we need to realize, like, if Russia's going somewhere else where it is a completely wrong direction, we need to be okay with being like, hey, you know, we don't agree with you all. And, you know, we're going to try to like give aid to Ukraine.
But can I say how much I appreciate you having those conversations, because you know, we're not supposed to talk about religion and politics. You know? And so I love that you felt comfortable enough with the members of his family or friends to have this discussion, because, you know.
Oh, girl, we've had some crazy discussions, like,
ooh, like what?
Like politics, religion.
Spill it.
We've talked about, like, even our religion, right? Like, what is your religion? Like, I just love that they're so open. And I mean, I don't know if it's like the family that Vino's grown up with that is like very like modern, or it's just, you know, really that's how they've always been. I don't know. But we talked about religion, like, you know, that I was before Catholic. My whole family was Catholic. And then we decided to like stop being Catholics because my grandma learned that the priest in their town was raping boys. I know, right? And so, right. And then we came to the US, and my mom was trying to find a sense of community, and religion to her has always been very special. And here's a funny story. So Jehovah's Witnesses knocked on the apartment door. And so they were Spanish speaking Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, okay.
They were Spanish speaking. And so she answered the door and she's like, oh, another Spanish speaking, people in our community, which she hadn't found that connection. And they're like, oh, and they're religious. Okay, let's be Jehovah's Witnesses. But that didn't work out because, and we told my Indian family all this, it didn't work out because there were things that Jehovah's Witnesses that they believe in that kind of felt like was compromising to our culture, right? They don't believe in holidays. And Mexican families celebrate Dia de los Muertos, right? Right.
No so holiday?
They don't celebrate holidays.
So no President's Day. I'm sorry. That's when you get your sheets and stuff for sale. No Christmas. no Thanksgiving.
No.
What about Valentine's
nothing
Day?
at all.
Well, that's not a holiday. Oh. Really? And there's only a small amount of folks that can get into heaven.
I know, right? So I'm like, yeah, exactly. So, and then the girls could only wear either skirts or dresses, and men had to wear pants. I don't know if they were allowed to wear shorts, but I know pants was one of them. So again, that was like my mom being like, okay, I don't think this is a good idea. And so then we just decided to be, not connected to any religion and just be more spiritual and pray when we feel it's in our heart to do so. And my mom really encouraged that. And again, it was mom. And she wanted us to know the Bible though, so she hired this tutor from, I don't know how she found her, but she taught us the Bible, but she never force-fed it on us. She's like, you guys want to continue this? Do you guys want to continue learning? And she gave us a choice, which I really appreciated. And so when I talked to Vino's family, they're like, it was the same with us. We never forced our kids to be like, you have to practice this, it's important to us and we're going to do it. But if you guys want to continue doing that, that's awesome. So yeah, I feel really blessed that I was able to find a family like that, that again, really empowered their kids to be themselves and really just encourage them to find their own path. Yeah. So, yeah.
But with direction, because what I see a lot is some parents, I want him just to become what no. No. You have to guide and you have to direct and you have to help and you have to encourage, And yes. I remember when I was in, I think, 4th grade, I've kind of always lived in apartment complexes. And so there was a tennis court and my mom bought me the cutest little Wimbledon skirt and, the top and the
love it.
Okay. She said, go out there and let's see what you can do. Girl, 5 minutes later, I came back. I was like, ooh, it's too hot outside. She was like, oh my God, this one's a trip.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm going to admit all of my foibles, but the hand-eye coordination, I just don't see. Girl, if I got a bat and a ball's coming in, I'm like, wait a minute, I have to move out of the way. Just such a... I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Wow, just making my day as the first episode for the first season. You were just the perfect person to talk to because you are so multifaceted and you are a citizen of the world, which is what I consider myself as well. And I want to encourage other people to see beyond wherever you live. I'm from a small Texas town. And my mom made it clear, this might be where you were born, but it's not going to be where you end up. And so just keep the faith, everybody, and know that whatever your dreams are, they can come true. But you got to put the effort in it and you've got to make good choices. because the problem with making the bad choices, and we've all done it, it hems you up and it wastes your time, your energy, all this stuff. And we just don't have that kind of time. We don't have time to waste, you know? You know, we want to be happy. We want to be productive citizens. I know that's extremely important to me, extremely important to Kristian. And, you know, whatever we can do to put ourselves in that position, we need to. Something else that Kristian is good at modeling is when it's time to say, you know what, this isn't working for me. You know what? This does not in any way complement my home life. And, you know, she's someone who has, as you can tell, a lot of opportunities because she is such a brilliant person. But her steadfastness and her confidence in who she is and what she can do is really inspirational. And I hope that, you know, I want you to take a lot away from this conversation, but I really want you to take away her confidence and her ability to shine irrespective of the situation she finds herself in. So this has just been a dream come true for me. I can't believe that you're in India and we're talking. It's so great. I mean, literally, I was thinking, who am I going to talk to first? And it just became apparent it had to be you. And, you know, you think you know everything about someone and you don't, you know? I mean, you know, I maybe have told you dribs and drabs of my life, but, you know, I get a lot of strength from listening to the stories of others. And,
can I just say, I didn't even know I was the first. Like, I thought I was like the second.
No, not at all. Not at all. And, you know, we were supposed to do it last Monday.
Yeah, we were.
And when it didn't happen, I'm like, because she also said, okay, she sent me some video of the Cyclone. I'm a TV person, so I like video. And she said, and I'll also be married on Saturday. I'm like, this is perfect. Let's postpone it, you know, for a week. And then that gave me a chance to figure out some things I needed to figure out. But I'm like, I have to show up sunshiny. I've got my yellow on. I've got my red lipstick on. I am like, I knew you had been in like this colorful environment. So I was like, don't show up in black, Angela. Did you have a sari on, by the way?
I did. I had like, I think it was like 5 saris or something. Yeah. And
you look good.
My mother-in-law. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my mother-in-law picked them all. So like, if people are like, you look so nice, I'm like, oh my God, it was my mother-in-law. And I was surprised she trusted me wearing her jewelry because I was like terrified. Oh my God, I gotta tell you. So she's like,
I'm a jewelry person. We should have started with this.
She's like, here, have this jewelry and you're going to take it with you. And this is where these are the pieces you're going to wear for, you know, these saris. And I'm like carrying this box of jewelry in the airport with my life, basically. I've never been so scared in my life carrying something in my backpack, you know.
Because it's real jewelry, right?
It's real jewelry, yeah. And I'm not a jewelry kind of gal. Like,
that's
it
my
was
job.
like,
yeah,
it's you.
Yeah.
I just can't. And I always lose something. So I'm always, you know, so it was even more terrifying to be like carrying her stuff. Cause I'm like, oh my God, I better make sure I put those earrings on really tightly. And these, you know, bangles, they don't like, you know, I don't move around too much because I don't want something flying. And then I realize it the next day.
Lost one of the bangles.
Yeah.
So are they like beautiful gold? Do they have like jewels on them?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. They're stones. I put this necklace the day of my wedding. It was like all made of gold. I never worn anything that pretty. I mean, all her pieces are amazing. And she's had them either handed to her by family or her husband, you know, or the day of her wedding herself. You know, she was gifted these amazing pieces. And they all had an amazing story too. And the fact that she like would tell me all of them was just like very touching. Like one of the pieces that I wore was the earrings of her wedding day. Right. And I was just like, you know, oh my God, first of all, I'm so flattered that you trust me to wear and take these with me. Like, I'm just like, I would get goosebumps every time.
Yes, I am. It's so,
yeah.
You're her daughter.
Yes.
And
yes.
she trusts her daughter. And her daughter trusted her to pick out the dresses. I don't know many people who would lean into family the way you have. I mean, that's beautiful. No, I have to pick it out. No, come on.
I mean, she does have good taste too.
Absolutely. Like, I know that's right. Don't come in with some raggedy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the way she dresses is very like a royalty, you know, like the colors, the way she just, oh my God. I'm like, yes.
Is she tall?
Yeah, she's tall. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause your husband's tall. Okay.
Yeah. He's 6'4". Their whole family's tall. Yeah. I'm like surrounded by all these tall people. And I'm like,
oh no, God. It's me and you. Yeah, I live in the land of giants. Oh my God.
How tall is Peter? Is he like?
He's 6'5". 6'5".
Okay.
Yeah. And even, you know, when I put 4-inch heels on, that'll make me, you know, 5'7", 5'8", and I still have to tiptoe to get a kiss.
Get it. I think I'm 5 feet, and with heels in on a good day, I'm 5'2". So
on a good day, she's on a good day. She's precious. Let me just tell you, and hilarious. Yeah. I want you to go get some rest. You've talked to me for an hour, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Oh my God.
It's crazy, isn't it?
This hour's gone fast.
I know, because this is what we do. We don't interview someone. No, we have a conversation. That's what the Power to Connect is all about, is, you know, just talking to people, having you talk to me, tell me your story. Let me learn something. Maybe I can teach you something. You know, we can learn from each other and grow from each other and become better people. That's what I want to be. I want to become a better person. And I want this podcast to help me do that. You know, we're going to do a lot of different things on the podcast. You know, we'll have, you know, interviews like we're talking to Kristian, and we're going to, you know, split it up. And because we talked about a lot of different things. So, you know, this is not just a one interview kind of thing. We're going to break it up, split it up. And so, you know, you will become a very dynamic part of season 1, episode 1, as it should be. And I want you all to know this will not be the last time you see Kristian. We will return to her as we talk about things and we realize we need her expertise, or we just want to check in to see how she's doing because she has great and fabulous stories. I mean,
you know what? I'm going to say this, like, whenever you need me to come on, happy to do so. I just live being around you. I mean, Angela, your energy is always so bright. You know, it's honestly like, I was at dinner, and I'll be quick because I know we're at an hour. So I was at a dinner with some of Vino's friends, and they're like, so are you missing home? And I was like, you know, I'm missing people though. You know, I'm missing some people. Like, I know some of the folks you all should meet, and I hope you guys, we get that chance. And I was like, one of those people is Angela, you know, and I started talking about you. And I said, you know, Angela just brings in that energy that, you know, lights up a room. And you know, there's very few people that do that. And and I don't know, it's like, I'm abroad. But like, when you asked me that question, that just was the first name that came to my head. You know, because there's sometimes like, you do not have that authentic relationship sometimes with those, you know, people. And I think you're one of those people that I'm like, I'm having a bad day, I'm going to call Angela, or I need that pep talk, someone to like cheer me on when I'm feeling all like, can't keep going. So I just want to say you've been special to me. And also, you know we love you. We love you so much. And it's funny because he's like, you know, if I need to drive you to another city to do this interview, I will do that for you and Angela. And I was like, honey, I love you, but I'm not doing this. I know. I'm
we
like,
ain't that good of friends.
I know. I'm like, there's a cyclone and we're going to stay put. So
that's right. She'll be fine. Well, she'll get over it. Well, let me just say this, that thank you for the kind words. And, you know, I'm a big old crybaby. So my eyes were glistening. Girl, don't get started on me and the crybaby. But I do want to tell you this, that, you know, was it 2 years into the pandemic? I don't know. Peter and I, We hadn't been over anybody's house. We didn't trust anyone. All of a sudden, Kristian and her husband, they extended a dinner invitation. And I said to Peter, I said, well, we're going. And he said, yep. And normally we're on the same page of, but we did. And we had so much fun. Who is calling me? Oh, girl, that's our mutual colleague, former colleague calling.
Ooh.
Why is she calling me on my day off? I'm off today. I took off because the power to connect with Kristian, and she's got a new name. I don't even know what it is. She'll tell me when she gets back. That was more important to me than doing something else, attending another meeting at work, where I sent a text that says, my meeting sucks. I said that to my mother-in-law yesterday. She said, don't they all? I'm going to lose my job.
Remember when we would message each other and be like,
oh my God,
wish you were here.
Oh, yes.
And
yesterday I was in a meeting and your name came up verbally. And then also in the chat, people are like, we miss Kristian. Of course, whenever there's hard work that needs to be done, we think about Kristian was the one who kind of led the way and showed not just other departments, but showed us, her colleagues, how to get it done. So I have to be honest with you. I may need to call you because I've got something that I've got to do and I haven't done it before. She's done everything. It's crazy. She's just done everything. I want you to go rest. I want you to go enjoy, just enjoy yourself. I know you'll be gone for another 2 weeks or so.
Yes.
So when you get back, we're going to get together and you will see the clips. You'll see everything before it goes out. And just thank you. I love you. I love you all. I love your new family. I love your family. I love love. And that's maybe the way I wanted to start the power to connect, because there are so many people who are out there looking for love, and it's very difficult. And I know that it is. And I know that I'm blessed, and I know that you're very blessed to have found people who it's the right person for you. Nothing's perfect, but for who I am, I have the right person. For who you are, I know you have the right person. And if you're out there and you are just feeling like you're never going to meet that person, I'm here to tell you, you will. You keep the faith, and you just don't in any way, try to change your morals, your values, your precepts. You just stay as you are. You will find that person. Trust me and trust Kristian. Thank you so much, sis. You go have a great rest of your day. Night, that is.
Night, yes.
Your new husband for me, and your ring.
Oh, for sure.
This ring, because I know there are several.
I got a ring right here.
Fabulous, girl. I've been looking at that ring. That blingy ring. Love you, girlfriend. Thank you so much.
You take care. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to The Power to Connect with Angela Rae and follow her on Facebook. You can also stay connected on Twitter and Instagram at AngelaRae.com.